Welcome in Karucha. Today I'm having coffee with Anna next to me. She invited me because she wanted to talk about real estate, of course. She's a real estate agent as well. Anna, maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. Anna from R&B Spain. Where I come in quite handy and it's just really explaining how important it is to put your property with certain agents. And I help people prepare like a package, as I always call it, to do exactly that. Just, okay, here's a file for photographs, image, the paperwork, and guide them through that. But the same goes, exactly with a rental property, helping them prepare it and showing them how it goes a long way, really, doesn't it?
What do you mean with the file with the photos? You give a file to the people who are selling their property, and you say, you give it to other agents as well.
No, not to vendors. I mean to other agents. So if they say, I'd like you to, okay, we want you to sell it. What I would do is what I offer to people, depending on who they're already with, if they're already actively marketing with other agents. If then obviously we just continue as normal. If, on the other hand, I'm sort of the first one they've called, then I say, well, listen, let me help you by putting it with other agents, and how you need to sort of formulate a kind of marketing plan for it, which agents will put it on which portals, so there's not too much overlapping, these kind of things, because I find that people, everybody, us agents, we spend money on advertising, and it's kind of upsetting a little bit when you, especially with somebody like yourself who does such a beautiful professional job of each property, 2.5 hours of at the property, let alone all the editing behind it, for them to go,
and then all the costs for advertising,
and then that exactly, and then all this kind of builds up for them to then go, oh well, actually I just stuck it on with so and so as well. You think, well, hang on, so it on one hand, like you said, with the rental side, if you're creating a package where they can use that for themselves, they buy, it would be kind of interesting to do that for people selling their properties too, wouldn't it? Maybe, I don't know. And then so that they can put it with specific ones. But again, I think it's kind of, people need to be, they tend to think they know the ones that are the right agents for them, but I'm always finding that I can help them a little bit better than I think they imagine.
Yeah, of course, we know, because we are working here for so many years, we know the agents that are working properly.
Yes.
For example.
And different client base as well. I mean,
Yeah, not only that, but also.
I mean, I deal mostly with English and Spanish, but your market is much more international, isn't it? So.
No, but I mean, if I have a client who is looking for a certain property and I don't have it on my listing, then I start looking at other agents.
Of course.
But of course, I know which agents that I can look at, because there are agents who are starting to check the properties when it's sold.
Right, when they've got a client, you mean?
I like to know if a property is legal and what are all the things that we need to know before there is a first client.
I think that's always, because I've been caught out as well a little bit in the whole, okay, you're listing your property, you got it on, it's interesting, the price is good, and you're doing all this kind of rigmarole and all the rest, you're publicising it, you're bringing the clients, you're doing the viewings, and then you go, okay, great, I found the buyer. Hang on a minute, that paperwork, that damn. I thought, they've sent me a whole lot of stuff. I haven't necessarily gone through. I said, well, hang on a minute, it's not my responsibility as an agent to make sure that your paperwork is correct to your.
Of course.
Depends a little bit on how you want to take that, because on the other hand, I could sit and check through every single. I would say, well, we've got a sales mandate. You've signed my sales mandate, with my disclaimer and with your understanding that you're presenting me the property and all the paperwork correctly. But it's not, is it? And then that's when then suddenly you're realizing, well, geez, I need to reassess how I work here, because actual fact, it's investing it's in my interest to invest a little time at the beginning to check that paperwork, guide them a little bit on what needs to be done, which is something I'm again, a whole thing I'm doing much more now is explaining to people, especially with rural properties, because I work a lot with places inland, is let's get an abbreviation of your paperwork, like a sort of nota simple, but obviously, in the case of whether they need what am I trying to say, like an informe urbanístico, something that kind of that gets some clarity, not just that what we're matching this and that all looks great to us, a little bit more for people, just because like I say, you can, if I've learned, like I say, from just going through it all too fast, thinking, well, that's not really my problem, and then when it comes to it, I'll say, yeah, but now it is, because I've excited somebody, they want to buy it,
and now there's a problem.
And now I'm letting them down because I haven't done my homework.
Yeah.
And I go, ugh.
Yeah. No, I always check before I sign a mandate.
Mm-hmm.
I always check the property, all the paperwork, and if there's something that, for example, if a pool is not registered, I try to tackle that at the beginning. So make sure that you get the certificado de antigüedad, and that's it.
Exactly.
Then then you can just show the property, and you know that there's not a problem. But there's so many agents, well, there are still agents here that don't speak Spanish. So how can they read the escritura and all the paperwork?
Yeah, good luck with that.
No, but
it's not easy.
The way they work is they put it on the website, or they put it in the listing. And when there's a buyer, they take all the paperwork to a solicitor, and they have to find out if it's legal afterwards.
Yes,
that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. I'm guilty of doing that, exactly that before as well.
But you speak Spanish.
Yeah, but like I say though, my train of thought in that was kind of like, well, like I say, you've signed a piece of paper to say that to your knowledge everything is correct. Mm-hmm. But then I've been realizing more and more that it's like, to their knowledge, turns out they don't know that the property does have problems there with an extension that hasn't been added. Well, they need to know how you add that on and everything else, and obviously as well, there are ways of doing these things without incurring too many costs beforehand. You can have the title deeds updated on signing, but obviously, like you say, an antiquity certificate more or less covers most of these scenarios, but it's always worth having it beforehand, so that again, to being able to tell people, okay, this is a situation. We know exactly what they need, and they've got it, or it's in progress, or again, it all helps so much more with the confidence with the clients.
Yeah, and with the general reputation of the estate agent
as well. Yeah, it looks a lot better when you go, whoops. Yeah, well, they told me it was great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding that I'm having to toughen up on a whole load more things now, especially, like I say, rural properties more so than anything, country villas, and ones that I've been quite surprised with. How do you mean? How do you mean you don't have that right? Really, mind-boggling.
How long are you living here?
Yeah, sorry. How long have you been here? Yeah.